Hello friends, today we will discuss about in pharmacognosy basic metabolic pathway. In basic metabolic pathway, first of all discuss metabolism. Metabolism originates from Greek words which means changes, any type of substance in plants or animal which change, that is called metabolic pathway. In metabolic pathway is a series of steps found in biochemical reaction that help convert molecule or substance, for example sugar, into different more readily usable material. Means in metabolic pathway series of reactions occur and a lot of various substance change into more simpler and usable molecule, for example sugars, which occurs inside cell where enzyme or protein or molecule break down to form other molecules. Types of metabolic pathway on the basis of their nature. Metabolic pathway are two types, that is catabolic pathway and anabolic pathway. In catabolic pathway, energy are released, for example breakdown of molecule into simpler molecule for like cellular respiration, Krebs cycles and glycolysis. Produced forms of energy in the form of NADP, FADH and ATP. Whereas in anabolic pathway, energy are utilized and synthesized molecules. For example, gluconeogenesis utilize ATP, NADH and FADH2. For example, A molecule converted into B, then C, final produce product D, whereas B and C are intermediate, A act as reactant and D as final product. They all are called metabolites. Region behind A converted to B, then C and D, that is our metabolic pathway, and all components are called metabolites. On the basis of their metabolic products, metabolic pathway are two types, primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. Primary metabolites are widely distributed, basically in plant constituent, simple in structure, do not have any biological and pharmacological activity. They are utilized for building up their body and responsible for physiological functioning of the plant body. तो प्राइमरी मेटाबोलाइट्स जनरली प्लांट में बनते हैं और इसमें कोई फार्माकोलॉजिकल या बायोलॉजिकल एक्टिविटी नहीं होती, बट ये रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द प्लांट का बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक बनाने के लिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्टार्च, कार्बोहाइड्रेट, सेल्यूलोज, प्रोटीन एंड न्यूक्लिक एसिड. Whereas secondary metabolites, after conversion of primary metabolites, form or constitute secondary metabolite. They are synthesized from primary metabolites, produce pharmacologically active on human body. For example, glycosides, tannin, resins, all are components study in next topic or second unit, like glycoside containing drug, tannin containing drug and resin containing drugs. They are synthesized under environmental conditions and therapeutically active component. Best example आपका cardiac glycosides, digitalis, obtained from digitalis purpurea. The pathway and chain of reaction through which involved are mentioned. Compounds are synthesized, produced in plant, known as basic metabolic pathway. In basic metabolic pathway, first of all primary metabolites are formed. तो जैसा कि आपको बताया गया कि primary metabolites are formed in plant, but there is no pharmacological activity, but they play important role in building blocks of plant. So first of all, carbon dioxide and water in presence of light produce process of photosynthesis produced sugars. That sugars forms of carbohydrate in the form of polymerization, polysaccharide, nucleic acid, etc. form. Also carbohydrate, glycosides form and complex polysaccharide. Whereas sugar in other way metabolized by glycolysis, pentose phosphate pathway and erythrose 4-phosphate pathway. In glycolysis, first of all phosphoenol pyruvate form, then pyruvate, then acyl coenzyme A 2 carbon containing, whereas undergo in TCA tricarboxylic acid cycle to form aliphatic amino acid like protein and alkaloids. Both are important component for human being, also plants. Then acyl coenzyme also metabolized by mevalonic acid pathway, mevalonic acid, isoprenoid, terpenoids, squalene, then steroids. Steroids also are responsible for human activity, forms of steroids in human androgen, estrogen, whereas terpenoids, also terpenoid containing drug, also mevalonic acid form various types of lipids, whereas erythrose 4-phosphate pathway and phosphoenol pyruvate undergo cyclic acids pathway, form cyclic acid. Two types of components in cyclic acid metabolites and aromatic amino acid metabolites. In cyclic acid metabolites form phenyl propanoids, flavonoids, tannins and lignins. All are beneficial components for human being, also plants. And aromatic amino acid metabolites, for example peptide and alkaloids. These are primary introduction for basic metabolic pathway. In next lecture we will discuss about cyclic acid pathway.